If you've spent the last few evenings scrolling through endless pages of planers and jointers, comparing 12-inch versus 15-inch decks, motor amps, and whether the fence can actually stay put while you're feeding a board, you're not alone. Most woodworkers hit that point where the choices feel overwhelming, and the fear of dropping a few $100 on a machine that ends up gathering dust is real. This review is meant to cut through the noise and tell you whether the Jet 12-inch planer/jointer is the tool that will actually move your shop forward, or if you'd be better off looking elsewhere. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's start with the kind of shop that benefits most from a 12-inch combo. If you're a serious hobbyist or a small shop professional who needs both jointing and planing without devoting floor space to two separate units, the Jet JPJ12B is built for that workflow. The machine combines a jointing table and a planing table on a single, sturdy base, letting you flip between the two functions in a matter of seconds. That quick changeover is more than a convenience. It reduces the time you spend realigning a board, which is especially valuable when you're pulling a series of rough-sawn planks through a joint and then straight planing the same pieces. For someone who already knows they need both functions, the compact footprint and the ability to switch without removing the fence can translate into real daily productivity. On the flip side, if your projects are mostly limited to a single operation, say you only joint edges for frames or you only need to thickness board stock and you already own a dedicated planer or a dedicated jointer, the extra cost of a combo can start to feel unnecessary. The Jet's 3 HP, 230V motor is respectable, but it's not a heavyweight that will take massive hardwoods down to a razor-thin finish in a single pass. If you regularly feed 2-inch thick oak or maple and expect a finished surface in one go, you might find yourself needing to take lighter cuts, which can add time to the job. So the machine shines when you need versatility and floor space savings, but it's less compelling if you're already set up with single-purpose machines that match your material volume. Now, onto what actually sets this unit apart in day-to-day use. The 3 high-speed steel knives on the Cutterhead are a big practical win. Because they're made from HSS rather than cheaper carbon steel, they stay sharp longer and are easier to sharpen when the time comes. In my shop, I've noticed that after a few months of regular use on pine, hardwood, and even some soft copper-containing exotic wood, the knives still slice cleanly without the chatter you sometimes hear with lower-grade cutters. That translates to a smoother finish on the first pass, meaning less sanding later. The quick change feature between jointing and planing is genuinely quick. You don't have to dismantle the fence or remove the table, you just slide a lever and the machine repositions the cutter head. It's the sort of detail that feels engineered for the woodworker who wants to keep a rhythm going. The tables themselves are heavy-duty cast iron with a ground finish. That's not just marketing fluff. The solid surface provides a stable base that resists wobble when you're feeding a long board. The parallelogram design keeps the tables close to the cutter head, which reduces the distance you have to pull a board through. In practical terms, when I'm jointing a 10-foot piece of reclaimed pine, the short travel distance means I can keep my hands in a comfortable position and maintain a consistent feed speed, cutting down on fatigue. The large handwheel on the planer side makes fine adjustments painless. Turning the wheel a quarter turn shifts the table by a fraction of a millimeter, giving you that precise depth control you need when you're trying to bring a board down to a specific thickness for a dovetail project. No machine is without its trade-offs. Because the unit is a combo, the table size is limited to a 12-inch width, which can be restrictive if you often work with wider panels or if you need to joint boards that exceed that width. You can still joint a 12-inch board, but anything wider will require you to cut it down first, adding a step to the workflow. Also, the steel closed stand, while robust, adds a decent amount of weight, good for stability, but it means you'll need a solid, level floor to avoid any rocking. If you're in a rented space with a flimsy concrete slab, you might need to reinforce the area, which is an extra hidden cost. Finally, the machine runs on a 230V, single-phase line, so if your shop is wired for standard 120V outlets, you'll need a dedicated circuit or a step-up transformer. That's something that catches a lot of first-time buyers off guard and can add to the installation time. So who should walk away with this Jet planer/jointer in the truck? If you're building a workshop from the ground up, need both jointing and planing functions, and have limited space,